is on Friday, but tomorrow is not a review. All right, now looking at today's stuff, Pythagorean theorem, you guys are familiar with the Pythagorean theorem. All right, you guys know it as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's a Pythagorean theorem, and that works as long as we have a right triangle. Now, the question for number 1 is state if each triangle is acute, obtuse, or right. So I know this works if it's a right triangle. So for the obtuse and the acute angle, we're going to use a similar formula. We're going to come and say a squared plus b squared. If that is greater than c squared, we're going to get an acute triangle. In order for us to get an obtuse triangle, we're going to get the formula a squared plus b squared is less than c squared. Once again, the equal sign, you guys know that's a right triangle. When the c squared is smaller, we get an acute triangle. When the c squared is bigger, we get an obtuse triangle. So looking at question number 1, the biggest side is 13. I'm comparing the length. So my c is 13. So my question here, the way I'm going to work this is 11 squared plus 4 radical 3 all squared. I'm going to leave it blank because I don't know if it's equal to, less than, or greater than 13 squared. How much is 11 squared? 121. How much is 4 radical 3 all squared? You go 4 squared, so square the number on the outside and multiply to the number on the inside. 16 times 3, 48. On the other side, how much is 13 squared? 169. Okay, on the left side, how much is 121 plus 48? So one side is 169, the other side is 169, so I get an equal sign in between them. Is that right, acute, or obtuse? It's a right triangle. Remember, the sign is basically what's going to tell me. Not all of them are right. How do you know if that's not 89 degrees? Let's take a look at question number 2. The biggest side is 4 radical 2, so that's my c. So I'm going to go 4 squared plus 4 squared. I'm going to leave it blank. 4 radical 2 all squared. How much is 4 squared? 16. How much is 4 squared? Another 16. How much is 4 radical 2 all squared? 32. Nice. On the left side, how much is 16 plus 16? 32. So 32 and 32, we get an equal sign in between them. This right, acute, or obtuse? Right. Some of them will be acute and some of them will be obtuse. Any questions up until 8? Did we figure out which one is 7? 7? All right, let's take a look at 7. The biggest side is radical 122. I'm comparing by length, so I know that's the biggest side. So I'm going to go 6 squared plus radical 86 all squared. If we leave it blank, radical 122 squared. How much is 6 squared? 36. How much is radical 86 all squared? 86. How much is radical 122 all squared? To make sure that I did pick the biggest side to be c, that should be the biggest number, right? C squared should be the biggest. On the left side, how much is 36 plus 86? 122. The other side is 122. We get another right triangle. Some of them are acute or obtuse. I'm positive. All right, let me skip to question number 9. For question number 9, it says, state if each triangle it's a right triangle. So all I'm asking you here is a squared plus b squared, is it equal to c squared? And I'm asking you if it's a right triangle, so Pythagorean theorem should work. My biggest side, it's 15. I'm comparing the length. So I'm just going to come and write 4 squared plus radical 209 squared should be equal to 15 squared. How much is 4 squared? 16. How much is radical 209 all squared? 209. How much is 15 squared? 225. Is 16 plus 209 equal to 225? Yes. So then the answer is yes. So when I ask you, is it a right triangle, I'm asking you if a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so you guys have this up until number 16. Any questions up until 16? 14? All right. The biggest side in number 14 is radical 231. I'm comparing the length. So my question here is 8 squared plus 13 squared, is it equal to radical 231 all squared? I know 8 squared is 64. 13 squared is 169. Radical 231 all squared is 231. Is 64 plus 169 equals to 231? No. That's like 233. So it's not 231. Okay. We good up until 16? Now looking at 17, find the missing side of each triangle. Leave your answer in simplest radical form. Since my angle is 90 degrees, my Pythagorean theorem works. My biggest side is 14, so let me write this as x squared plus 11 squared equals 14 squared. Now I'm using the equal sign because it's a right triangle. So I'm going to write x squared plus 121 is equal to 196. Let me subtract 121 from each side. So I have that x squared is equal to 75. So if x squared equals 75, I'm going to say x is equal to the square root of 75. But the instruction said leave your answer in simplest radical form. So I'm going to simplify this as 5 radical 3. Make sure you simplify your radical. The way I got that, because in this case I went 25 times 3, my 25 as 5 times 5, groups go out, single stay in. So that's why I called it 5 radical 3. So don't forget to simplify your radical. Let's take a look at number 18. The biggest side is x. I'm comparing the length. So I'm writing radical 14 squared plus radical 7 squared, it's equal to x squared. How much is radical 14 whole squared? 14, good. How much is radical 7 squared? 7. This is supposed to be x squared. So we have that 21 is x squared. So x must be the square root of 21. Simplify your radical. I know this one's going to break down as 3 and 7, but nothing's going to come out. Remember, only groups go out. So x is radical 21. Right? That's already simple. And again, I know we can split it as 3 and 7, but nothing comes out. Like no groups, so nothing comes out. Any questions?